Welcome back, everybody. Vogue. Whoa, modeling with trig functions. So we're determining the cosine equation of the graph, which we already did. And so now we wanted to finish using our function and so doing problems C and D. So what is the height of the rider at 81 seconds? So since our function is in terms of time, we're going to go ahead and go ahead and plug in 81 seconds into our calculator and see what we got. So I can write that out for you if you want to write it out with me. So we're going to go y equals, remember? Or even we say h of t actually, right? So h of t, there we go. So h of t equals negative, and then the amplitude was 35, right? And then cosine of, and then our period was 2 pi over b, 2 pi over 53. Awesome. Don't forget our x there. Awesome. And then we had a midline shift of 37. And cool. Awesome. And again, the reason why it was 35 plus 2 is 37. And then, so that brings us a midline shift up there, I believe, of 37. I'll double check there too, just to make sure. Yep. Cool. And that was our so again, to find that midline, it's the maximum added with the minimum and divided by 2. And so our maximum was 35 plus 2, 35 plus 35 plus 2, so 72. Minus 2 is 70. And so, oh, but add them together, that's fine, the amplitude, sorry. So minus them to get the amplitude. And so that's how we got 35. But then add them to get the midline. So 72 plus 2 is 74. And then if we divide that in 2, so then we've got, down 14, 2 goes into 14 7 times, 37. So that's how we found the midline, is what we did there. I don't know if I showed my work before on that video, but there you go. Okay, so we want to know what is the height of the rider at t is equal to 81 seconds. And so that means that we're going to plug in 81 seconds and see what the height is. And so we're going to plug it right in there. So you can use your regular calculator or graphing calculator to do this. And here we go. So one thing I'm going to tell you that's really super duper important, because now we're dealing with something different now that we've done different in the past, is that we're actually dealing with radians, because we have 2 pi in there for cosine, right? And so we're plugging in 81 for x, or for t rather. And so we're dealing with radians. That means our calculator mode, right, needs to now be in radians. There we go. So now we're going to plug that in our calculator. So negative 35 cosine of, let's see if we can get it right, a 2 times a pi, and then also times 81, good. And then all that divided by 53, because we have 2 pi times 81, all divided by 53. Cool. And then we close parentheses, and don't forget to add our 37. Bam! So that gives us 71.44 seconds. No, height, sorry, meters, which is nearly the top, nearly. So we're going to go ahead and say that our answer for h of 81, or t equals 81, is 71.44. So 71.44 meters, right? Because we're trying to find the height. And so I believe it's meters. Let's double check. Meters is always fun for our Ferris wheel. Okay, yep, 2m. So we're guessing that's going to be meters. Cool. So there is our answer for C. Is that what you got? I hope that's what you got. And if not, I hope at least you're learning so you can do the next one on your own. Okay, so the next one, there we go. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do the next one. So we're doing that same function again, h of t is equal to negative 35 cosine of our period is just 2 pi over 53 seconds, one full cycle, times x plus 37, the midline. And so now, what time does the rider first reach a height of 51 meters? So, I mean, we could take an educated guess for fun. Let's see. So 50, how many meters? Let's see. So it's said at 51 meters. So here's 72 meters right here. So then 51 meters is probably there. So we could take a guess, you know, not sure, huh? But definitely less, so not 53 seconds, because that's when you're back down to 2 meters. So maybe way back in the beginning of the ride, so maybe more like, I don't know, 10 or 20, somewhere around there. Maybe somewhere between there. What? Okay, so now to be able to do this problem, there's 2 ways to do it. So you can do it algebraically, or you can also solve it. My favorite, easier way probably, is graphically. So 2 ways to solve this problem. Cool. Okay, so algebraically or graphically. There we go. So then let's see here. So what we want to do is probably show you algebraically first. So since we're solving, sorry, that x there, sorry. So it's actually supposed to be a t because we're solving for t, because what time? Awesome, there we go. Okay, so then to solve for t, we need to have a height. Oh, they gave us height, 51 meters. So this represents height. So now we're going to go and replace it with 51. So now we're going to go ahead and replace height with 51, which is what they told us to when we're going to reach our first height. So now you're just going to solve for t, and solving for t, getting t by itself. So the first step is to get PEMDAS, reverse PEMDAS, subtraction, and then addition, and then multiplication, no, division, multiplication, yeah, parentheses, okay. So we're going to minus 37 over the other side. So now we do 51 minus 37, good, good, good. So that's 14. Awesome. So that's part's done. Then we have multiplication going on as well as cosine. So now we want to go ahead and divide. So we're going to go ahead and divide negative 35 over here as well and get a decimal there. So let's go ahead and divide by negative 35. We're trying to solve for t once again. Okay, so we got negative 0.4 now. So then we have negative 0.4, good, is equal to what's left? So cosine 2 pi over 53 times t. So do you remember, how do we undo cosine to the other side? Do you remember? How do we undo cosine? So what's the opposite of cosine? So inverse cosine. So then we're going to go ahead and inverse cosine the right side to get rid of cosine, to get access to the t, to solve for t. If you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and inverse cosine that negative 0.4. Inverse cosine that. So let's go to our calculator and go ahead and second inverse cosine negative 0.4. So that gives us 1.9823. So 1.9823 is equal to 2 pi over 53t. And now we can just solve for t. And how we solve for t is get 53 to the other side by multiplying it. So do 53 times 1.98. And then go ahead and to solve for t, we're going to go ahead and divide by 2 pi. Divide that whole thing by 2 pi. Cool. And that'll give us our answer algebraically. This is intense. So 53, let's show you graphically, so you're like, oh, I should have just done it that way. 1.9823, but if you're taking 1050, 1060, or calculus next year, then you definitely want to do it this way, algebraically, because that's how they're going to show you how to do it. Okay, there we go. So then we push enter, And we get 105.0619. Don't forget to divide by the 2 pi. So we'll go ahead and divide by 2 times pi. And that gives us a grand old answer of 16.7. So then we get t is equal to 16.7. And what measure of unit is that? At what time? So that's going to go ahead and say seconds. Cool. And so there's our answer. Now let's show you algebraically. So we could actually just graph that equation and then just kind of scan through and found it. So let's show you now how to do it algebraically now and see if we get the same answer. So we're going to go ahead and make sure, we're going to go to y equals now, and we're going to go ahead and plug in our negative 35 cosine of 2 times pi. Remember that? Yep. Don't forget times by your x, or if you want to do, you have to do an extra parentheses, I guess. So we'll go ahead and do parentheses 2 pi divided by 53, and then you can times that by x if you want to. Or you can do 2 pi x over 53, that'd be fine too. Then close parenthesis plus 37. And so now we're going to graph that sucker. Whoa! So I highly recommend you push zoom and 7, zoom trig. There we go. And so now we're going to go through, we're starting at 2 meters, 0, and then 2 meters high. And then as what time is it going to take us to get up to 51 meters? Look at the y value. So the y value now is at 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. And when do we stop? Well, when the height reaches what? How many meters? 51 meters. So we're all the way up to 40 now. We're getting really close to 51. Bam. Whoa, too far. So there's approximately 51 meters, which tells us what? 16.7, 0.75. So there we go. See if it lets us copy this. Boom. And so at 51 meters, we have 16.7 seconds. Woo! So that's using your calculator to do that problem, as well as I showed you algebraically. So rewind and watch this problem again to memorize how to do all these steps, either graphically or algebraically for the test and for the homework. Cool. So we'll do another homework problem with you next. Thank you for watching. You behind the screen. Hello, you. Yeah, you. Thanks for watching. Have a good time doing this math. Thanks for watching, and get some more help. Watch the next video. Thanks. Bye for now.